Hello and welcome to OrangeJuiceCast. I haven't done one of these in a while. We're talking about the games we played last year. And who's joining me? Introduce yourselves. Start with you.
Oh, thank God, he got it right.
It's your boy, Bad News Tom. Hello.
Hello, mate. Who have we got next?
Hey, I'm Jezzo. How's it going, guys?
It's Matt. I'm back from a couple of years ago podcast. I'm sure you watched those like you're watching this one. So, yeah.
It's just Otis.
It's Otis.
Hello, guys. Thanks for joining me. I played quite a few games last year and I didn't like many of them, but there's a couple which are some stonkers that we will discuss. But I think probably best to just rattle some off that we've all played, that nobody else has played.
Yeah, get the sweaty games out of the way before we get onto the Thunder Bastards, am I right, fellas?
Exactly. Oh, I don't want no tap-ins.
There are like 3 from last year.
Okay, I'll start us off. I played Cyber Shadow. It's a Ninja Gaiden game by the Shovel Knight people. It was fun.
Yacht Club.
It wasn't by them, it was published by them, right?
Published by them, yeah. I've played Darkest Dungeon 2. It's an early access game. It's not great. I played Death's Door. It was a bit unmemorable.
You want to rattle that off? Right? That is a shared game that we both played.
I'll rattle it off. I don't care about it.
I know why. I like the bosses, but I don't remember anything.
It's a bit boring. I can't remember the maps. And I played Resident Evil 8, which I thought was very, very fun and goofy and silly. But I don't think anybody's played it. I also played Inscription, which was a very interesting game by the Pony Island creator until it wasn't. And I also played Eastward, which was a very interesting game by a Chinese developer for the first time until it wasn't. Yeah, that's me. The only game that we've all actually played is Pummel Party.
Oh,
wow.
We should talk about this.
Yeah,
we should.
Okay, here's a question. So this is Pummel Party, for those who don't know, is essentially a Mario Kart killer, or Mario Party killer. So Jez, you're the only one who's actually played Super Mario Party Superstars or whatever it's called.
No, well, I've played them both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, Mario Party Superstars is great as a remake. Yeah. Super Mario Party is really shit.
Okay, I love Super Mario Party, but do you think Super Mario Party Superstars, or whatever the fuck it's called, is better than Pummel Party, or Pummel Party is at least more interesting?
I think Pummel Party is definitely more interesting in terms of the board side of it. I mean, both of them have great mini games, but the boards in Mario Party Superstars are rather lacking and don't have the intricacies with kind of attacking other people.
Mm. Yeah.
I think the shit about Pummel Party is like only like the base map board, the one we're on like a floating island, is any good. The other ones have like really shitty gimmicks that don't work after a while.
Yeah, they could be interesting, but they clearly were just like, this will be fun, and then they coded it in. They didn't really account for much else. Like they had the serial killer one, and it wasn't like. It was just like a bit shit after a while because once you know the gimmick, it's like, well, there's nothing. It might as well just be a normal board. Yeah, and a lot of the games were just like arcade games. So I mean, it's fun, but like,
like Pong.
From my perspective, it's like it's kind of funny to me. Apart from like Crash Bash on
baby
PS1, no one else has attempted this. We're going to do Mario Party.
No, there's a Shrek version actually.
All right, fine. But in modern times,
Sonic Shuffle.
Okay. Well, apparently there is a few, but there's been no.
Even I haven't played that, Jez.
There's been no sort of modern attempt at doing a Mario Party that's not made by Nintendo. And obviously, the thing is with all these Mario Party games, especially the modern ones, is that Nintendo made them so that online is either non-existent or non-functional.
Yeah.
Now, I think Mario Party Superstars is slightly better in that regard. Jez can correct me. I know there is some weird stuff about not being able to like party up, so like 2 friends versus 2 randoms and stuff. You can do private games online with all friends, or you can play against all randoms. So there's still a bit of like jank there in terms of their online play, and I've not played it online, so I don't know how good the netcode is or whatever. But Pummel Party fills that niche of a Mario Party you can play pretty stress-free without having to set it all up, without having to do, online that works. So
True.
my only expectation going in...
got up to 8 players as well?
It's a weird Mario Party clone. It looks kind of cheap. It looks kind of simple. But if I can play it online with friends, then that's more than I can do on the official Nintendo games. Yeah,
100%.
So for that alone, it was fun and worth picking up. It was cheap, worth playing. The mini games and stuff, there's not enough of them. They kind of get a little bit old and they recycle quickly. And like Otis said about the boards, it's not the most inspired game in the world. Like, it's clearly just Mario Party. But the fact that I can play a Mario Party game to an extent, I know it's not the IP or whatever, but it's Mario Party, but online with friends, and it all works, is great. And it goes along with, I think, a lot of feelings I have with Nintendo franchises, especially multiplayer ones, where their online play is just so bad that it's just begging for. If I can't play the official games, multiplayer games from Nintendo that I like online, I will happily find a substitution that might be a bit worse, but means I can actually play it with friends more often than getting together in a room.
I wish. It's the thing with like Mario Party as well. Is they rarely innovate much. And it's like when you play Pummel Party, you're like, oh, there's a lot of interesting ideas that they've done here. They're not really refined. I would love to see them with more of a budget doing a second version with like double the amount of mini games and some better boards. But there's at least some like, this is interesting, and I like these interesting twists over the standard Mario Party formula. It would be nice to see Nintendo level polish on something like that, but like you say, playing it online means infinitely better because you can just, do you guys fancy a game of Pummel Party? Instead of having to pay 50 quid to set up a fucking game of Mario Party online that probably doesn't work properly.
I think considering the resources they had, to be honest, I think it's one of the best Mario Party rip-offs I've ever seen. I know like what Matt said, there aren't many, but it's the only Mario Party type game that I would consider playing outside of Mario Party 2 and 3. Like Crash Bash is just the mini games. Some of the mini games aren't very good, and they're all repeated multiple times. There is another Crash Mario Party ripoff called Crash Boom Bang on the DS, and it's literally like a 1 out of 10. God. It's one of the worst games I've ever played in my life. Wow. So. And that's the only two I can think of. So then you got Pummel Party, which was like, how much is it? Like a £5, £10?
Something like that. It's really cheap. It's great fun.
Yeah,
it's really great fun.
Like items and stuff in it. That's a lot different. They feel different from Mario Party, even though it's the same concept.
Yeah, it's less of like the random bullshit. Like, you've got 5 stars, 5 bonus stars to do. But it makes up for that by having like fucking lasers that kill everyone.
Yeah.
In a straight line from you. So it's fun in that regard.
Yeah, because at least you know that that's coming. And so you're sort of like, well, they've done this, so I can plan ahead for this. And it does come down to winning minigames a lot. But, yeah, good. I think we all enjoy.
One thing I really liked about Pummel Party as well is that the turn order is determined by the results of the minigames.
Oh, yeah.
I did like that actually a lot.
It was a great twist.
Another dynamic.
But that's exactly it. It's like, why doesn't Mario Party do something like that? It's like,
exactly. There's no way Nintendo haven't thought.
So it rewards more skill from the minigames.
But it's just like they've just ignored it. Yeah, we definitely had some rounds going into like where it's really close towards the end of the games where it's like, if I win this minigame, I'll go first next turn, which will allow me to make a play, which I won't be able to make if I don't win this minigame. And then it sort of adds to the fun when one of these minigames is a random jank fest, as there should be in a game like a Mario Party ripoff. And therefore someone flukily gets a win and everyone's laughing. And then not only do they win that minigame, it then ruins whatever plan the person had that they were going to go first on their turn afterwards. Yeah, I mean, I think Pummel Party isn't better than...
Is there many...
games, but it's worth it just for the fact that it's easy to find on Steam, cheap, download, and you're in a game with your friends in minutes, and it's worth it for that alone.
Well, fair enough. Does anybody else have any other games that they would like to talk about?
Should we go through another list?
Yeah, I think so. Tom, what about you, mate? When you rattle off some of the games you played.
So we'll do the list of ones that I only played. Yeah, this year.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, all right then. Okay, so Twilight Princess, The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess.
How have you never played this before?
No. I just replayed it again this
okay.
year. I've completed it like 3 times or something now. Because Twilight Princess is I'll spend slightly more on this one only because it's a bit weird. So Twilight Princess is a bit of a mystery to me, and I think to everyone, because this is no one's favourite Zelda. No one has it anywhere near the top of their list, but no one has much bad to say about it either. But I've always loved it, and I did my list of Zelda games from worst to best. I had it at number 7. I played it again, and it stays at number 7. This is one of the best games I've ever played in my life. It's an unbelievably well designed action adventure game. The problem with it is just that it's very badly paced, like very bizarrely paced all the way through. At times it just takes absolutely forever to get to a dungeon, then other times the next dungeon's just around the corner. And I think its slow sections are just what turn people off. But the main problem is that it genuinely takes about 4 to 5 hours to get to the first dungeon. And this was me on my 3rd playthrough. I mean, the last time I played it was like 6 years ago, but on my 3rd playthrough and not being particularly slow. So I think almost all of the criticism around it is just from that opening section, which makes it like it just kills repeat playthroughs, which is why people can't remember it very well, and thus it's not very well praised. But it's actually got more personality than people give it credit for. The soundtrack is incredible. Dungeon design is the best in the series in the 3D games,
Probably.
apart from maybe Ocarina of Time. Just an amazing action adventure game. So that's Twilight Princess. A bit too similar to OOT, and the wolf gimmick doesn't really add that much, but it's an amazing game. Okay, a lot quicker on these ones then. Silent Hill 3, amazing surprise, absolutely brilliant game. I played Silent Hill 1 and 2 several years ago. Silent Hill 3 is almost as good as Silent Hill 2. In some ways it's actually better. There's gameplay improvements, but the atmosphere and characters are nowhere near as good, and that's probably more important than the gameplay in a Silent Hill game, as odd as that sounds. It's all about the fear factor and like just the bizarre, weird like atmosphere that sort of makes you feel stressed out. Silent Hill 3 doesn't have that as much, but it's still a brilliant game. Resident Evil 7. So Jazz, you're the only one who played Resident Evil 8 this year, right?
Yeah, I did play Resident Evil 7 this year as well, but it was more of right at the start. But by all means, go ahead.
Yeah, shall I just rattle this one off then? Yeah, Resident Evil 7, another brilliant game. I completed this 3 days before Resident Evil 8 came out, and I played it for the first time. Maybe the second scariest game that I've played behind Silent Hill 2. I'm not saying it's the second scariest game ever, because I've never played like Amnesia or anything like that, or FNAF or anything like that. But like just completely rejuvenates the Resident Evil series. The last 2 games in the series were 2 of the worst, being Revelations 2 and Resident Evil 6. It's gone back to sort of basics, but also feels like it's its own thing. Amazing music style. Sorry, Jazz, were you going to say something?
It definitely does a good job of both being... It is terrifying, but it also is extremely fun and interesting in its map design. Like, I'd be like, oh, fuck's sake, I have to go... Oh, there's going to be a fucking thing that's going to scare me. But I'm like, oh, I'm going to get the key, and I'm going to open this door here, and that's going to get me... You know, it's a very good balancing act that is... It's very impressive, especially for me as a big pussy, I find, about this game.
That's true. You are a pussy, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Resident Evil 7, amazing reboot for the series. When it starts, you feel like this is just completely different to every other Resident Evil game, because I've played them all now except for Resident Evil 8. But then as it opens up a bit more, you just start to discover that it has a lot of similarities with, I really want to say Resident Evil 1 more than the others, but it feels more like the tank control games used to, except now with a first person perspective, with a bit more clean gameplay and some really smart level design. I'd say as a criticism, I don't have many, but one of the criticisms I have is that all of the scariest parts of the game, and also thus where the challenge is, the bits that you're threatened to get killed, are effectively in scripted sections. So once you get those bits done, it's like Capcom realised there's nothing to kill the player now for the next 2 to 3 hours until the next big boss fight. So they just stick a bunch of black blob monsters in the way. They just spawn out of nowhere, and they're literally just like blob monsters that die in a few hits, and that's it. So if you're smart, you can clear your way through the house and have nothing in your way, sort out a bunch of things, collect some more items, and then go on to the next set piece, which also does take a lot away from repeat playthrough. So I don't think it's anywhere near as good as Resident Evil 4, and I don't think it's as good as Resident Evil 2, but I'd say it's the third best game in the series. So brilliant game. Doom 2016, we talked about this enough on the channel, so I'll just say it's an absolutely outstanding first-person shooter.
Yes.
Very stressful, not quite as good as the original Doom, in my opinion, but the first-person shooter genre is absolutely needed something to shake it up, and I know it's already like 6 years old now, but at the time, it was the first great first-person shooter in many, many years, so yeah, brilliant game. Now then, Jak 2. Renegade, made by Naughty Dog.
What a game.
I played this year, and it is fucking shit.
Oh, really?
It's really bad. Really bad.
I remember loving it as a kid, but I haven't played it since I was a kid.
This is a weird
I really love
game.
Jak and Daxter.
Yeah.
And it was obviously, it sort of became Grand Theft Auto-ish in a way.
Yeah, more than ish. It's turned into a lot of different things. So Jak 1 is one of my favourite games ever. It was noted in one of your previous videos. It had me as saying it was my favourite collectathon outside of Mario 64. Jak 2 uses the same moveset but puts it in a completely different setting. So it's now a crossover of Jak and Daxter 1 a little bit, but mostly GTA 3 with a bit of Tony Hawk and a bit of third-person shooting. And yeah, so that's mostly the mix. If that sounds like a complete mess, it is. None of that is conjecture, by the way. Jason Rubin and Andy Gavin have confirmed all of those things were influences, particularly Grand Theft Auto 3, and it shows. The sandbox hub world is now there, sort of a GTA-style sandbox is there instead of a traditional 3D platform hub world. It's an awful sandbox because there's effectively nothing in it, so you just follow the icons. It's just go here, go here, go here, with annoying enemies in between that don't provide any challenge. They're just an annoyance. So one of the sections I spoke about there was a third-person it's a third-person shooter. It's one of the many elements with vehicle races and stuff like that. And as a third-person shooter, it's just an abysmal third-person shooter. One of the worst I've ever seen. Mainly because the mechanics are that you just shoot where you're facing. So it's just move, blast, move, blast, move, blast. And there's no nuance to it at all. There's only one move that you can do to help you out, which is if you jump and spin at the same time as you shoot, it will just shoot in all directions. But there's a ridiculous amount of aim assist going on, so if you do that, you will automatically, and people have looked into this and proved it, you will automatically hit at least one enemy. You're guaranteed to do it. So there's several parts in the second half of the game where you just have to keep spinning and shooting. The checkpointing system is horrific, as you go like long missions without checkpoints. So if you die once, you go all the way back to the start of a mission, and you'll constantly get killed by things that you couldn't have seen, like enemies that pop up around corners and just kill you. I could go on for ages about all the problems I have with it. It's basically a terrible game, and the worst game Naughty Dog have ever made by far. Story is awful, characters are awful, the vehicles feel crap to control. It really is an absolute piece of shit. I have very little good to say about it, but there's one more thing I would like to say quickly. The second analog stick doesn't move the camera around. It will, if you press up and down, you can't look up and down. It zooms in. So,
I don't remember that.
This is a problem that was actually in Jak and Daxter 1, except then it was way more forgivable because it was very early days for 3D platformers, particularly if you consider that Crash Bandicoot 1 didn't have had a fixed camera, so you didn't use the analog stick. So it was the first time Naughty Dog was using the second analog stick. But it also wasn't a problem in Jak 1 because of the way it was designed. Jak 2, there's constant times all the way throughout the game where there's enemies on platforms above you that you really need to tilt the camera to see them, and you can't. It will just zoom into Jak's model or zoom out a little bit, which offers absolutely nothing in the game. There's no benefit to it at all. So it's a bizarre mistake that even in 2003, a developer of that skill level, you'd expect them not to make that. So I kind of look at Jak 2 as the end of the golden era of Naughty Dog for me, which is between Crash 2 and Jak 1. Piece of shit, don't play it. Toho Lunar Nights, Environmental Station Alpha, Ori and the Blind Forest. All decent Metroidvanias, none of them are great. None of them are worth playing, really, apart from Ori and the Blind Forest just for the art style. Completely just decent 3D Metroidvanias, that's it.
That's fair enough. I actually played
Nothing
Ori and the Blind
interesting
Forest.
to say about any of them.
I played Ori and the Blind Forest this year as well. I thought it was okay. I thought the save system was garbage, and it ruined the game. Not ruined the game, but it was a bit crap.
Yeah, I saw a lot of hype around the sequel. That was getting a lot of good reviews. I didn't play it. But yeah.
Will of the Smiths.
Yeah.
I haven't played it.
I haven't played it either. Not interested.
Will of the Smiths.
Yeah.
I wasn't bothered with the sequel after the first game.
You played Ori 2, Jez?
Yeah.
Do you agree with it being a mediocre Metroidvania?
Yeah, mediocre sounds good. I played it after playing Hollow Knight, which is like one of my favorite games. So
the thing is with Ori, the graphics and the art style is amazing, but the level design is just completely average, and that's okay. It's just that it's in an incredibly competitive market on the indie scene. So it's not just Hollow Knight. It's even compared to Toho Lunar Nights, which is one of the 3 games I mentioned there, which is a pretty good Metroidvania, and that's it. Like, even that has way better level design than Ori. Also, guys, I think you'll all agree the combat is terrible.
It's bog standard. Nothing.
Again, it was okay.
Yeah.
You just press the shoot button and it hits enemies near to you. That's it.
You know, it's never gonna
What
be
is
a
this,
Hollow
an
Knight.
FPS?
It's never gonna be better. But hey ho. Now let's move on to Pokemon Snap.
So first of all, I love the original Pokemon Snap. Now I say this as played it when I was a kid. Played it a bunch of times when I was a kid. Obviously, I didn't really play it in the modern times, and especially now I'm an adult. So it's always a bit wary when you say things like, "Oh, I love that game, but I haven't played it for 10 years or whatever." As you know, your taste might change, and you sort of love everything when you're a kid. No, at least I did, especially had the Pokemon name slapped on it. But I had fond memories to Pokemon Snap, and when they announced Pokemon Snap 2, I was very hyped for it, very excited for it. What I will say is that they could have tried to modernise Pokemon Snap. I saw a lot of people talking about this when the first trailer got released. A lot of people disappointed that they didn't modernise Pokemon Snap, that this wasn't some sort of, I don't know, open world game where you run around taking pictures in an environment. They kept true to what Pokemon Snap 1 was. You're back in your cart, it's on the rails, you go through the levels on rails, you take photos, you then submit them to the professor afterwards and he ranks them. Now, I was glad for that. I think if you do a sequel like this, after so many years, you know, people want that Pokemon Snap gameplay, and although it might not seem very modern by these days to have what effectively is an on-the-rails shooter, although you're taking photos obviously, although that's not very modern or trendy in this day and age, I'm glad that they didn't go and change up the formula so much, and they kept true to the way the first game was, and they really gave a game which I think fans of the first game will appreciate, because they, you know, stuck close to what made the first game great. Now, what I will say,
I think it was 2000.
I could not give you the date. Yeah, I guess that would be a fair way to say
It's not called Pokemon Snap 2, is it? Got that new title. I hate that so much.
Indeed. Yeah. So, same actually. What I will say though is that I mostly enjoyed it when I played through it at the time, but looking back, I don't think I like this too much. My problem with it, and I'll kind of try and be quick with this, and then Jez, you can let me know, is that the gameplay changes that they did change are, in my opinion, way worse. They're for the worse.
Okay.
So let me just explain. In Pokemon Snap 1, you go around and take pictures of Pokemon, and then you submit them to Professor Oak afterwards, and he ranks them based on certain criteria of the photo.
Yeah.
Now that might sound obvious, but I'll get to this. It's of the photo. So how big is the Pokemon on frame? Are there any Pokemon in the background? Are they centered? What's the background like? And all the rest of it, right? Are they too close to the lens? Are they too far away? Etc. etc. And you get a grade depending on how well you fit those criteria. New Pokemon Snap does this too, except now there are 4 different poses that each Pokemon can be in. So again, you get the rank from bronze to platinum of how good the photo is, but then those photos are then per Pokemon, there's 4 variations. So Pikachu has a 1-star pose, and then you can get a photo which is ranked bronze to platinum of his 1-star pose. And he's got a 2-star pose and a 3-star pose and a 4-star pose, and that goes for all the Pokemon in the game. Now, my issue with this is that after you run through the game for the first time, it quickly becomes a case of how do I know what is a 1-star and a 2-star, a 3-star and a 4-star, and how do I get the Pokemon to do a thing that allows me to get that pose that I don't have yet. So obviously there was a bit of this in the first game. I distinctly remember, moving Pikachu over to the surfboard by throwing down the fruit, so he follows it along the trail and he jumps on the surfboard, and then you snap the photo. But in that game, you taking the picture of Pikachu on the surfboard would be like an S rank photo because it's a weird pose and you'd get bonus points for it. In this game, you could get a bronze photo of Pikachu on a surfboard. So the surfboard might be a 3-star pose, but the photo itself that you've taken of it might not be very good. Now, the issue comes with the fact that it's really hard to distinguish if a Pokemon is doing something special or if they're just not. So sometimes you take a bunch of photos and I'd randomly come to the end of the course. It tells you what poses you took, and it'd be like, oh, you took a 4-star pose of a Squirtle. And I would be like, how? I don't know how I've done that. I just took random photos of a Squirtle and I've got a 4-star one. Or sometimes, and the kicker is that many Pokemon have multiple animations that fit each pose. So you might go through a course, you take a bunch of photos of a Pikachu, you get 1-star, 2-star and 3-star poses. Okay, so what do I have to do to get the 4-star pose? You go again, you do the run again, you do some trial and error. Oh, Pikachu didn't do anything different that time, so I took some photos, but it's just 1-star, 2-star and 3-star again. I'll go through the road again, I'll try some different things. Maybe I'll try and, throw a special ball at him, or I'll try and catch him, see if I can lure him into the ocean. Maybe he'll swim or something. Is that what the game wants? I don't know, I'm guessing. So then, what happens is Pikachu will do something you've never seen before. Maybe he falls asleep, maybe he rolls over on his back, or maybe he, some electric comes out of his cheeks, and you take a photo and you're like, yes, finally I've got that 4-star photo. It's taken me ages, trial and error, going back and forth. Yes, I've got that 4-star photo. You get to the end and it says, no, that's actually a 3-star photo because there's multiple animations that fit the 3-star photo. So it became quite frustrating for me to go through this game of just trial and error, of just trying to work out what I have to do to get these Pokemon, what counts as a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star or 4-star. And in the end, when you run through the first time, it's a nice game of taking photos of Pokemon and getting ranked. But then when you're trying to go for like filling out the decks and you knew all the poses, I found it frustrating.
Okay, so what I'd say to that is that the comparison you made to the first game of like trying to get them into a pose is basically the same as it is here, but I do think it's definitely a lot more complex now than what it was. Whether that's better or worse, I think that's subjective. But there's a very heavy. It's tricky because, as you say, sometimes it just doesn't happen. But a big part of the game is the replayability and the trial and error. So I think they've done a great job of capturing that and making sure that there's lots of content to look out for. I will say it is frustrating, the whole 1 to 4-star system, only because when you get to the analysis stage, you might say take a good 1-star photo and a good 2-star photo, but you can only submit one. You can't submit both.
Yep.
Oh shit, what was I gonna say?
Yeah, it's really annoying. So like there were places where I'd get to the end, I'd have, say, obviously because within the stars there's the ranking of how good the photo was. So I would have taken a platinum 1-star photo.
Oh yeah.
Then I've also accidentally taken a bronze 3-star photo.
Yeah, that's.
And I can only submit one.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I have to chuck in this bronze 3-star photo because I don't even know how I got him to do the 3-star pose. This was by accident, so I have to get it in there to put it in the decks. But then I miss out on the platinum 1-star one, and yeah.
So in terms of that, it's like you just have to look out for which one is platinum, and because if it's bronze, then it's like, well, there's no point in submitting it, because if you're going for that completionist, the platinum stuff, there's no point in submitting it if it's not platinum. But so there's sort of there's the trial and error in trying to figure out what to do, and then there's another challenge in how do I take the best possible photo that I can of this 3-star, 4-star, whatever. And I quite like that. It can be a little bit grindy, but I agree. It's I like it, but it can be annoying.
Yeah, I mean, just a final point on this. What I will say is that it's a relatively short game, but the graphics and all the Pokemon animations and all the Pokemon models are really good. Way better than in any of the other games, which sort of makes sense.
Yeah, they're lovely.
Yeah,
way better than Sword and Shield.
Like, it's really great, and it sort of makes sense because obviously in all the other games, Game Freak have got to put in, even if they're not doing the full decks anymore, they've got to put in 200 models and stuff and move animations and stuff. I can't remember who made New Pokemon Snap. I should look this up, but the devs obviously don't have to deal with all of that. They know which Pokemon's going to be in the course, and they can specifically animate them. You're not running around in an open world; it's on rails, so they only have to animate Pokemon basically coming in and off of the screen. And because of that, it looks lovely. All the animations are great. The first time you go through a level and you're just like whipping the camera around because you've got no idea what's around the corner, and it's just like you whip the camera around and Magikarp flies out of the waterfall and there's a Wobbuffet, and that's all awesome. The first run through is awesome. And great to see these Pokemon like alive in a 3D space, which we still haven't seen really. I know we have 3D models, but actually feel like alive in an environment was really great. So I do give it credit for that. If you're a massive Pokemon fan, you should play this. But if you're on the fence a bit, I think it just got a bit too frustrating for me. I think it is a little bit, just because obviously there's no like co-op or multiplayer or online. It doesn't have to be.
There is an online community where you can share photos and stuff, and people can drop sweet medals. You can share
photos and scores and stuff.
Yeah, and share scores as well.
Yes, and you can drop stickers and the like. But apart from that, the game's relatively short, unless you go for like a mass completionist run. So yeah, this would have been better at a cheaper price if it's Nintendo. So yeah, you're probably not going to get that. But overall, I'm glad it's one of those games. I'm glad it exists. It's like a faithful sequel. I would have changed some stuff about it, and some things about it frustrated me. But if you're willing to put up with that price point and you're a big Pokemon fan, it's good.
I just really want to just add. Just want to add quickly, because I just remembered this. There is like a requests thing where they're kind of like missions, so it kind of pushes you in the right direction on how to find the 3 and 4 star variants of the Pokemon poses. Yeah.
So yeah, you get a bit of help there. The last thing, the real last thing I'll say on this is that in sort of most Nintendo games, I feel at least a lot of the modern ones, a lot of modern Nintendo, it's just like there's some things which are just, I feel like, a needless step back. So in New Pokemon Snap, there's no real-time evolutions. So Pokemon Snap N64 in the year 2000 had this.
It did, yeah.
Where you kick a Charmeleon into a pool of lava and then a massive Charizard comes out. Yeah. Now there's none of this in New Pokemon Snap. There's a Magikarp early on, which is just like in a pool of water, and it's like clearly you do some setup and that's going to evolve into a Gyarados. It's going to fly out the water, and maybe some other water Pokemon around it fly up into the air as well. The Gyarados does a thing, maybe it interacts with a Pidgey going over it or something, I don't know. But no, there's no evolutions. Like Pokemon Snap N64 year 2000 had this, New Pokemon Snap doesn't. So Yeah, like I think that kind of sums it up. It's almost like a step forward and 2 steps back. But maybe if you really love Pokemon, you might see it as 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But either way, it's not quite.
Yeah, I think I'm more on that side, to be honest.
Right, shall we move on to another game? I'll tell you what. Here's a game that me and Otis played. It's called Loop Hero.
I tell you what we do. Let's rattle through all of the co-op shit we did.
Yes, that's probably a good idea, actually.
I know you guys play a lot of co-op. Let's hear this.
We did a lot of co-op games. And
I like co-op, but I didn't play much this year, so I'm quite interested.
The first one we did was Deep Rock Galactic.
Yes.
Deep Rock Galactic is basically Left 4 Dead, but mission-based, and you also mine.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like live servicey as well, but it's sort of tastefully done. It's not like... It's very grindy, but it's not like demanding you play it all the time.
It's definitely one of those games which is almost designed to have you got 4 of your mates about, you sort of play it not super seriously, you put some music on, you take the piss out of each other. You got like quite bog standard missions of you need to get this ore, or you need to set up a thing here and then defend it, or you need to transport the payload. And it is a procedurally generated like mineable map with loads of stuff, but it was fine. It was fine. It was
very satisfying. The mining was very satisfying. Killing everything was very satisfying, and then you get to like go to the hub world afterwards and drink a beer at the pub, and it's quite fun.
Which was fun.
I like that.
The only thing that I thought was a bit tiresome was, as you would with a live servicey style game, is the upgrade system, the upgrading, and the amount of resources you get. Yeah, it takes too long to do it.
It's excessive,
and you lose interest. It's like, if you sign up for a Discord, you get extra. I don't want to have to sign up to Discord to speed up how I play this game.
But the benefit is you don't have to actually pay for that. And in the interest of rattling on, let's move on immediately to Valheim.
Oh, yes.
This was the dog's bollocks in March, or whenever it was.
Let's say when this came out, no one could shut up about it. This was like the thing, and it sort of died off, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the reason that happened is because the devs stopped working on it. Like they promised, like, we're gonna have 4 updates by the end of the year. They've done 1.
Yeah.
And the reason they claim
hung over from all that fucking money
fucking money they got. Interestingly, this is under the same publisher as Deep Rock Galactic, so they're fucking swimming in it. Yeah.
Just for people knowing, this is Viking Minecraft.
It's Viking Minecraft.
That's all it is.
What's known as Minecraft for adults, essentially. It's really fucking janky, but it's a lot of fun, honestly.
It's quite fun. We had a laugh.
Very bare bones. It's also very grindy in the sense that you just need excessive amounts of resources.
Yes.
And if you're playing by yourself, then it's going to be boring as fuck. You need like at least 4 people in order to make any progress. And it's one of those games where, if you don't have this equipment, you're going to get killed by a fucking mosquito in one hit.
When the mosquitoes just come out and they just like stab you and you lose all your health and you die. It was like, what the fuck is going on here?
But like the map is massive. I remember I have fond memories of us going like playing sea shanties and sailing across the ocean for like an hour to go to a new continent. It's that sort of thing.
Sea serpent.
Yeah, and then that was cool. Yeah, it's good fun. I hope the devs actually work on it like they said they would.
Like I could see myself after like 4 updates going back and doing a similar thing with the guys again, because it was very fun for what it was in that time. But like you say, once you got towards end game, there wasn't much to do really. It's a shame. Okay, well that's good. How about we go on to the next one that we played together?
Phasmaphobia.
Yes.
We didn't play as much for some reason, Jazz. Can you elaborate why we didn't play it too much?
Remember when I said that I was a pussy?
Yeah. Got through all your supply of underwear.
I don't have any white underwear anymore. Let's put it that way. For people who don't know, also this is if you've ever seen like those like Zach Baggins sort of like Ghost Adventures shows where they go into like a haunted house and they go, "I'm waiting, come get me." That's pretty much it. You play 4 people who just go in and try and find a ghost and take pictures of it or something.
The key gimmick here is that it records your voice.
Yes.
So you can speak to the ghost. You're like given the ghost's name, and it's like, if you speak this ghost's name, they might provoke a reaction.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like voice mechanics.
Is this sort of like a sequel to Hey You Pikachu?
I think it is a direct sequel.
It's the same
developers.
Pikachu is one of the bosses actually.
But But the actual structure to it is you go on missions and you got to work out what type of ghost it is based on like various clues. Like, is there fucking ectoplasm in this teenage boy's bin?
Yeah, does it step through
Stuff
soul?
like that.
But the greatest part of Phasmaphobia is its voice chat, because it gives you walkie-talkies so you can speak to people inside, which, you know, sometimes static happens and you can't hear them. And it's only voice chat within a certain proximity.
Yeah.
So when you're exploring different areas, it gets dark and ghost and the fucking sound design's scary.
It's also, needless to say, it's probably the jankiest game of all of the jank games we played this year.
Once you see a stupid model go and come towards you, it does lose a lot of its fear factor. In that way.
This sounds amazing. Like
it's a lot of fun.
I really love that idea about the voice playing with voice chat and throwing it into the game. That sounds interesting.
The thing is, like,
it's really fun.
The way me and Ginge, who we played this with, approach scary games is like I get sort of wrapped in it at first. Ginge doesn't, because he's a tough man. But then eventually I also go, okay, this is bullshit. So at the end I was just going like, oh, fucking Robert, come out, you fucking pussy. Like, trying to just make something happen.
You're just like, Jazz, go in there, close the door.
Go in there, you fucking twat. They close the door after you. The biggest problem with it, though, is the walking speed. It's fucking abysmally slow.
Walking speed is slow. The other biggest problem is once you've done one run, you've done the whole game.
Well, no, it's not even that. Like, we got to like the mid tier of maps, right? The mid difficulty, and the maps are so massive immediately, and it takes you like 10 minutes to get from one end to the other. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna die if the ghost does appear.
Yeah,
so that is the most annoying thing.
It is very funny though when someone like John dies, and then you can't hear that. They can't hear your voice. You can hear their voice chat, but you can't hear them.
And then
anymore.
You've got like their fucking ragdolling body is like, oh, yes, he died.
I did have a lot of fun for what it was. In fairness, right. There's one. Okay, let's do one more thing that we played. Back for Blood.
Wait, no, there's like 5 more in between that.
I know there is, but this. Do you not want to talk about Back for Blood?
I was going to do chronological order.
Okay.
I want to very briefly mention Path of Exile. So this was the next game we played, our little group. I got super duper into it. I played like 200 hours of it. Everyone else dropped off. It turns out I really like Diablo-style games. The thing about Path of Exile is it's very economy-based and it's like season-based. So it's very hard to get into because like in a few months or possibly weeks sometimes, all of your progress will be gone. I sort of don't like that too much, but I really just like the mathematics you have to put into your build, and like actually playing with the economy and stuff is a lot of fun. And it's not like you have to buy equipment and stuff. The only thing you buy is cosmetics. Other than that, it's completely free to play. So yeah, it's fun. I'll probably never play it again because it fucking consumed my entire life.
Yeah.
Next thing we played.
Most games you'd like to do that though. But the next
good
true. Game that we played was. Do you want to talk about Wildermyth or Back for Blood?
Wildermyth was first.
Okay, we played a game called Wildermyth. It's sort of like a procedurally generated D&D, which can be fun with your friends. In that it has events that happen and combat that's okay, but it is unless you're role playing procedurally generated dialogue and you try, you're not going to enjoy it because
the like 99% of my enjoyment of this game was like doing the voices for our characters.
Procedurally generated dialogue, I might add. So like there's bits where 2 of your characters will sit down and talk about something, but the dialogue is procedurally generated, so it doesn't work, and it's really weird and silly. But it's when you dedicate yourself to the voice, it is very funny. I don't know if that's the intentional part of the enjoyment of the game, but
no, like they were selling it as in like, oh, you're gonna love the characters that it randomly generates. These are your custom characters. This is completely unique to your run, and I didn't get that at all. I thought it was like a pretty shallow game. It was just funny to do stupid voices. Yeah. So I wasn't too impressed. I didn't like
just play real D&D.
Yeah, that is basically the gist of it. Is like if this appeals to you, just like play D&D.
Yeah. The last one that we played together was Back for Blood.
No, it's not, Jazz.
Oh fucking
Barrow Trauma.
Oh yeah.
Barrow Trauma is like co-op FTL, but you're in a submarine. That's the end.
That's it, yeah.
It's also very janky, but it's a lot of fun and dark, and also really fucking stressful. I liked it.
It was alright. I'll take it or leave it. Back for
Back
Blood,
for Blood.
is the last. Is the
Guys, we're doing Back for Blood now.
Yeah.
We only played the beta.
Yeah,
It's-
I've played this with you guys as well.
It's just
It's
Left 4
shit.
Dead.
It's shit Left 4 Dead with bullshit live service.
Oh, it's
nonsense.
card mechanics as well that
Yeah.
don't really make the game any more fun.
Deck building. In my
Yeah,
Left 4
I
Dead.
mean, it has the obviously the devs don't have the same budget as Valve does, right?
Well, they're Warner Bros, right?
So-
Or published by Warner Bros.
I'm guessing I'm guessing they don't have. What I'm trying to say is that if they made like a cheaper Left 4 Dead, but kept in all the charm and or tried to as much as they could keep in all the charm and all the things that made Left 4 Dead what it was and the great couple of games that those were, then I mind it.
Yeah, it was devoid of charm.
It's kind of hard to say, why haven't you made a game as good as Valve were making games in their heyday prime and they're making some of the best games of all time. However, it's like they didn't quite get what made Left 4 Dead so great. And although it's like it feels like Left 4 Dead, in many ways it doesn't, because they don't get the details right.
Yeah.
I had fun with it to an extent, in the same way I think playing any sort of first-person shooter with your friends where you're just shouting at each other about who should shoot who can be fun. But outside of that, I played the beta and I didn't get the full game, and that's probably the most damning beta impression you could have, is to play it for free and then be like, I actually don't want to pay for this.
Yeah.
But for my money, I would say Deep Rock Galactic is a better Left 4 Dead substitute than Back 4 Blood.
Most likely, yeah, I would say that. The thing that summarizes Back 4 Blood is you play standard Left 4 Dead gameplay, and then you get to an area and they have like a boss fight that comes out. And I was like, oh, there's boss fights in this game. That's an interesting. I can't remember this in Left 4 Dead. And then it's really boring and dull, and it's just, you just shoot the thing until he dies, and then move on.
The shooting doesn't feel very satisfying.
No, it doesn't.
You don't feel there's no like character to the characters, unlike Left 4 Dead, which is obviously a big part of it.
Yeah,
and also I found
yeah.
You constantly run out of ammo in Back 4 Blood. I noticed that. Whereas Left 4 Dead, that's sort of an issue, but only if you're a fucking idiot. Like, you have so much ammo in Left 4 Dead, but this one is...
Back 4 Blood has at least when I played it in the beta, and from what I've seen from just reading online, I think it carried over to the full release too, has a real problem with the balance in terms of difficulty. It felt for me that way too. Some difficulty levels were just like so breeze through and so easy.
It's true, actually. I remember.
You'd knock it
That's
up
very
one,
true.
it'd be like, this is just a hellscape, which isn't fun.
Yeah.
And difficulty is something that Left 4 Dead did really well. If I'm not wrong, Left 4 Dead had like dynamic difficulty.
Yeah, it had the AI director, right?
Yeah, it's little touches like this, little touches like the way Left 4 Dead handled difficulty. It touches about the way the zombies react and all the animations, all their like the zombies in Left 4 Dead have like a million death animations. They're all mocapped, and they all react differently to things like fire and to noise and things like that. And there's a lot of care and attention put into this. And then there's none of that in Back 4 Blood. They all have the same death animation, and they don't react independently or differently to fire and things like that. So although the core gameplay might be there, it's 4 of your friends running through, and running through levels shooting zombies, the detail isn't there. And it turns out the detail is what made Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 stand out as these like amazing co-op shooters, and not just the fact it's 4 friends shooting zombies.
Well said.
I agree.
We also played Overcooked 2. I hate it.
I like it.
Overcooked is great.
I like Overcooked.
Me and Matt played about 5 minutes of Overcooked 2, and to be fair, I didn't like it for some reason, even though it seemed to be the same, but for some reason I didn't like it. Don't know.
Hate relying on other people. It's a problem
You
I
can
have.
grow things.
Yeah. To be fair, me and Tom played a lot of. We finished Overclock 1 full co-op, and I really like that. I think they're
Did
great
you just
games.
say overcocked?
I said Overclock.
Yeah, I think he said Overcooked.
I meant Overcooked.
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 Did you say by the time we got to the sequel, we were a little bit overcooked?
I'm willing to give it a 6 star actually.
Ban him. Yeah, I like Overcooked. How about we move on to Matt? Why don't you rattle off some of your games on your list?
I played all these games for the first time this year. Obviously, they didn't all come out this year. Fallout New Vegas. Don't have anything to say on this that hasn't already been said. It's really good, really fun, great game. My God, is it ugly. I know like I'm playing it in 2021 when I played it, but I reckon even when this game came out, my God, it just looks like vomit on the screen. It's just brown vomit. So the visuals and graphics are awful. Everything else about it is great, and Bethesda haven't come close to touching this since, basically, in any way. I played Bloodborne, so I played Souls 1 and Souls 2. I was going through the From Softwares in order. Again, I'm not going to speak about this because Bloodborne has been spoken to death. It's really great in every way. Please, can we get some PC port so I can play it in 1440p or 4K 60 FPS? Anyway, moving on. I played Disco Elysium. Really great game, something different in the video game space, the type of game which you could recommend to people that don't play video games because it's so different, and you walk around being a detective and clicking dialogue trees and options from dialogue trees. What I will say is the ending soured this for me for being one of my favourite games of all time. I really like it. I'd recommend it to anyone. I played the director's cut as well, so it's fully voiced, which I think really helped. I can't really imagine playing this without the voice acting, because the voice acting is amazing. So play the director's cut. The ending, I didn't like the ending, and it spoiled it a little bit for me. Okay, next, Astro Box Playroom. Astro Box Playroom.
This actually looks quite a good speedrunning sort of game.
This was a free game which came with the PlayStation 5. Now, I'm not sure if they're still doing the deal, or like it still comes with all PlayStation 5s. It did with mine when I got it. This was surprisingly very good. It's a very good-looking, small, bite-sized third-person platformer where you run around, and it's just kind of full of old Sony references and little nods to old Sony franchises and PlayStation's history, and it incorporates a lot of the new DualSense controller, the new PS5 controller with the touchpad and the rumble and the haptic triggers and all the rest of it. It does a really great job of interacting you to that controller and all the new features, while also being really charming. The final boss of this game is at the 1999 E3, or the one before.
Spoiler alert.
Or spoiler alert for Astro Box Playroom. The final boss of this, basically at one of the first E3 that revealed the original PlayStation, they did a demo of like a T-Rex on screen, like roaring at the camera and moving its character model around to show the power of the PlayStation. The final boss of Astro Box Playroom is fighting that T-Rex, and it's still like polygonal PlayStation 1 graphics, and you're fighting the T-Rex. Loads of touches like this all over the game. Actually quite surprisingly enjoyable.
I've had a lot of people actually play this and they love this. What I was wondering is this, because it's sort of like how we sports or Wii Party or whatever is to introduce the controls of the Wii.
Yeah.
Is this a good version of that for the PlayStation 5?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And we could have done loads of weird stuff, like I don't know, with a bow and arrow game or something because of the triggers. Or they actually put thought and feeling into this. It's surprisingly
full of
polished
soul
and good. Yeah. You played it as well, Jez. What do you think? Just quick.
Yeah, I think it's incredible. I would say it's on par with the 3D Mario games. To be honest, it's definitely better than 3D World.
It's really good. It's short, but it's really
amazing.
Good.
I hope they make a proper full game sequel.
I agree. I'd buy a full sequel to this. Right, moving
Absolutely.
on. Astro Box Playroom. Definitely play that if you can. I played the remaster of Rome Total War. It's Rome Total War again. They changed nothing. It's just released on the PC. I love the original Rome Total War, and it has loads of childhood memories from it. So I played through it all again in the remaster in 1440p and 900 FPS, and I liked it. But they changed nothing. So unless you love nostalgia like I do, then probably just avoid. Quickly, for the last few, Katamari Damacy Reroll, first time playing that, really loved it. Everyone knows about this game, but it's brilliant. Play it if you haven't. You roll around picking up stuff. It starts with picking up pins and dust and in tiny objects, and by the end of the game, you're just rolling over planets. It's amazing. Great game. Yeah, and airliners and planes, and it's great.
Everyone has to play it. It's the law.
Death Stranding. The Death Stranding. I have so much to say about this game. I'm not going to. What I will say is, overall, it's a mediocre experience when you take all the highs and the lows, but it's the most mediocre experience I've ever played. The most interesting mediocre experience I've ever had. The game attempts so much weird stuff that other video games aren't doing, and in many ways it fails, and in some ways it doesn't. I played Control, which was really good, really polished, third-person shooter. Looks great, feels great. These developers are the same ones that made Alan Wake, and I can't Remedy.
Like a third person. Is it? Sorry, on on Control. So is that the one that's like a third-person shooter, Metroidvania?
That is correct. You run around. You run around an embassy, and because the embassy is in like another dimension, all the rooms change. And you go into a room and you come out and you go back in, and the room layout is changed and there's a new mechanic. And then as it goes on, the embassy gets crazier and crazier, into the point where one of the like final levels, you're like flying through the air, and the room is like warping in and out around you, and walls are collapsing in front of you, and you're shooting enemies, and it all gets really, really fun. It's not like amazing, but good experience, and I will look out for the next Remedy game for sure. And finally, played a game called Urumangi Generation, which is a really kind of obscure...
What the fuck is that?
Urumangi Generation. It's like an obscure indie game which you take photos. So this is my second photography game this year.
Right, so it's a porno game, is it?
It's not. It's like a cel-shaded first-person game where you walk around with a camera. It's not on rails, but the environments are very small. And you walk around with a camera and you have to get certain shots of certain criteria, much like Pokemon Snap, but obviously instead the setting is like a dystopian future where aliens have invaded, and you're then therefore taking photos of like kind of dilapidated streets, or one of the areas is like a train station where they're shipping off immigrants, or I think they're shipping off people to war, so against the aliens and stuff. So it's a great soundtrack. What I will say is that I paid like 20 quid for it. It's so short. I know there's some DLC with it as well. The DLC should have been in the full game, in the base game. It's not worth it for the price I paid. But if you can get your hands on this on a Steam sale for like really cheap, it's worth it just because it's interesting. The difference between something like Urumangi Generation and Pokemon Snap is Urumangi Generation has more of a focus on like the camera. So you get different lenses. So you have to take like things with a telephoto lens that's far away, or sometimes to get 2 bits of information into a shot to hit the requirement, you have to switch like a fisheye lens or a wide shot, or you can do like pull focus. So to get 2 things in, you might have to have the thing in the foreground blurry so you can focus on the thing in the background. And if all of that sort of sounds interesting to you, then it's worth a shot if you can get it really cheap. And that's the end of my list.
It sounds like Beyond Good and Evil, but without the Zelda-ish stealth puzzle.
Yeah, I agree, Otis. I'm getting those vibes.
What I noticed from last year's E3 was there was a lot of photo-based games like paparazzi, bug snatch. Yeah, and so I was sort of like, all of them are like, you know, they're photo games or whatever.
Sorry,
that actually sounds like it has a
bug snatch.
I did say bug snatch. What I mean is bug snacks. Bug snatch is something else, mate. But it's about that. It sounds interesting that it at least has like a theming or a setting that's more interesting than just you take pictures and it's cute. More like there's a sort of subtle narrative going on in the background.
Great. It is really subtle. Like there's no voice acting or story you put to each level, so you do have to pay attention. But it does sort of a thing where when you're trying to search for, and like all the objectives are never like to take a picture of a soldier about to go to war. The objectives are always like, go get me some graffiti and a picture of a cat, or a photo which has 3 bicycles in it. So of course, as you're running, it's not on rails, so as you're running around the stage trying to find an angle where, there's a bike down there and there's 2 bikes over there. But how do I get into a position so I can put my camera and then use a lens to get all 3 in the photo? And as you're doing that, if you're perceptive, you pick up on a lot of other sort of kind of deep underlying lore about what's going on in this world and the fight against the aliens and how the governments try to deal with it and how society has handled it. So if you kind of like that, then it's interesting.
Oh, okay. I am interested in it now. I might take a look at it later. Right. Why don't we move on to something that me and Jez have played? So, would you like to speak about It Takes Two, Jez?
Oh yeah. Well, firstly, I don't think it deserves Game of the Year. It's an interesting co-op game where basically.
I've played 80% of this game, so I haven't finished it yet. But I do like the mechanics and how each level is a different style of gameplay and a different type of like quirky gimmick. But one thing that I had, my big problem is the fucking story is dreadful. I don't know about you.
Yeah, the story's not great. That book.
Yeah, the book is really annoying. It's like, fucking hell, yeah.
It's a bit relentless. Yeah. But in general, yeah, I like that they mixed up the gameplay sort of where best they could each level. But I found that a lot of the gameplay was kind of to me to you in terms of co-op gameplay. So like one person would do one thing and then the other person just waits and then they can do their thing. Yeah. You kind of just go back and forth like this. There's not really much going on where you're both trying to do something at the same time. Which I think is kind of what would be best for a co-op game, because then you're actually kind of doing something together at the same time, achieving the same goal.
Who did you play with though? Because I played with someone who was just like it was almost like we blitzed through these levels pretty much. Like we knew what to do, but it was sort of like, oh, that's quite clever, and then we just do the thing, and then it was like we blitzed through these levels. But I was having fun because of that pace as well.
Okay, I played it with my girlfriend. It was just it was pretty much the same. It didn't take too long to kind of figure out what was going on. But yeah, like I said, I felt like it was just kind of take it in turns kind of gameplay. And there was definitely a few parts where you did stuff together, and that was great. I felt like there was a few moments as well where it kind of feels like you're in control, but you're not quite. So like, there's a bit where you go down like a vacuum cleaner. And you kind of fly out of it and launch into another pipe. And you kind of have to steer yourself to get into the pipe. I don't think, in moments like that, I don't think you can actually fail. It just kind of makes it look like you're in control, that you have to do something.
It's all very cinematic in that way.
It's a lot more cinematic,
because I actually quite enjoy it. I think it's quite charming in terms of its like different set design, different puzzles that they do with the different mechanics, and then they just drop those mechanics entirely. Basically, I think they're quite charming, and I could see this being a great game to play with. I can only see us playing this game once, and it's like you say, someone like your girlfriend, like we'll play this together. Oh, this is charming. I do think that some of the levels are a bit overstuffed. They're a bit like when you go into the beehive, like it's very fun. It's very fun in terms of it has like it becomes a fucking shooter now, but it's like the level's too long. It needs to be cut down a bit.
Yeah, I thought the game in general was actually very long.
Yeah.
I did think so. A lot of the levels seemed like they were huge worlds with kind of lots of detail. There's maybe a couple of trinkets you can play with, but in general they felt quite empty. And they were either like pretty empty or they were quite linear as well. And there were a few levels that were kind of a bit bigger, a bit more open. They kind of almost seemed like 3D Mario. And it's interesting because there's actually a lot of weird jumping movements that you can do that the game doesn't tell you about. You can do like side flips, you can jump from a roll. There's loads of different things, but the game never requires you use any of it. Like you don't, none of it's necessary.
It feels weirdly, like Mario or Banjo-Kazooie levels of sort of polished like movement, and then it's like, oh, but the main focus is this mechanic for this level, which is fine. And I mean, it does feel fun. It is just like I think maybe it's just the pacing of the entire levels are an issue. In that, if they trimmed things down and made a lot more of those fun mini games, would be more enjoyable.
Oh yeah.
And also,
the mini games are alright.
the story is 2 people want to get divorced for unknown reason, but not really. It's not like, oh, I fucked the secretary and we have to fix your divorce. It's sort of like, we don't love each other anymore because of this. We're gonna get back together. It's like,
let's force these 2 people back.
let's force these 2 back.
Together.
But yeah, who absolutely like, no. I'm splitting up the house. You're taking the dog. You know, it's very weird. I guess there had to be something, but
I guess the idea was the love was still there, but they just kind of lost sight of what was important. You know, that kind of thing.
It just feels weird that they frame it around a divorce. And also, spoiler alert, there is one scene where you have to viciously murder something, and it feels like the most heartless thing you'll ever like, because it's such a drastic tonal shift. It feels like, oh, we're playing Animal Crossing, now can you hold this head under the water while it struggles for 2 minutes?
I actually kind of found it funny because it just seemed
I was
so
laughing out loud.
silly.
Yeah, it was. And it's because they drew it out for so long that I was laughing so much. I couldn't believe that they were literally doing
about it as well.
Yeah. But I mean, leading up to that moment, you sort of go, "Oh, it'd be funny if you do this." And then they actually go through with it, make you do it to an exaggerated degree, and it is one of the biggest laughs I've ever got from a game, which is definitely a credit. But I don't know how much of that is intentional.
Yeah, I don't think I get into that.
It's probably not. But I mean, overall, yeah, it's definitely a fun game. Maybe like a 5 or 6 out of 10. I just couldn't believe when it won Game of the Year.
I think it's like a 7 or an 8, but I don't think it's better than like Resident Evil 8 or Outer Wilds.
But surely we can point to It Takes Two as an illustration of how bad this year was for video games, considering that it won Game of the Year at the Game Awards. I know that doesn't mean anything, but it doesn't exactly have a lot of competition.
No,
from 2021, does it?
Yeah, it's worth mentioning most. So like the games that I did like this year, like primarily, which is God Hand and Path of Exile, and Auction Not Included, didn't come out this year.
Yeah,
and Outer Wilds.
And Outer Wilds, yeah, that's DLC for a game. Same with Auction Not Included. Who's next? Who's going next?
Well, I'll tell you what, fellas. You know what is a contender for the Game of the Year, and probably is my Game of the Year.
Here we go.
She's back, baby. Metroid Dread.
Why can't Metroid crawl? It's canon now.
Why can't fucking back? Your girl's back.
Right. Matt, you're the only one who haven't played this, right?
Yes, but I don't mind. You guys all tell me.
Let's point and laugh and ostracize him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play it. I think I'll play it. Unless you guys now put me off it.
Okay.
So, yeah,
I think we all have a similar opinion on this. In that,
I think we have the identical opinion.
Yeah, it's an excellent Metroidvania with some awful segments.
Yeah, it would be unabashedly my Game of the Year if not for certain bullshit.
It's a little bit salty.
What certain bullshit is this?
Sections you on about?
I hate Emmys.
Emmys are suck.
They're fine.
They suck so bad.
They're so bad.
You're bad.
I am bad.
It's comical in that they get rid of them at the last half of the thing because they're just like, nobody likes this. Get the shit out of here. It feels like they were only there because they were there in the original design docs when this was first come over, and they're like, oh, this is what the game's based around. The game's been in development for 20 years. I'm like, well, can we just fucking get rid of this? And Nintendo like, no, leave them.
I love them. I mean, they really made me feel terrified. And those
what?
When you get caught.
I thought Jazz was the pussy.
No, I just meant like. I mean, I'm not like shitting my pants scared, but in terms of the gameplay of it, in terms of running away, like you can't actually kill them until you get a certain power up, kind of thing.
I felt a lot of dread when they came up.
This is actually
that's the whole point. You feel dread. I get it.
No, this is surprising to me because I got that they were trying to do that. I felt nothing but annoyance.
Yes, it was a ball ache.
It was constantly frustrating.
It felt like I have to go through this 10 minutes of annoyance to get back to the fun part of the game.
Yeah, like genuinely having a fucking blast throughout the entire game. It's like, oh fuck, the fucking shade, the grey, grainy shader is on the screen.
But
Just go back.
I love
Also,
finding
what's the
ways
point
to
of the quick time
run around
event
it.
to maybe save you? But it's all it is press a button randomly at some point within these like 2 frames.
you gotta time
Maybe
it.
you'll stop it.
You gotta
No,
time
there's
it,
no
bro.
timing. There's no timing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there's a
think
timing.
Jez has got to the essence of this here, is that Jazz and Otis are just bad at the game, and also you're playing it wrong.
Listen,
Now then.
I 100%ed it, first of all. Second of all, maybe I am bad at it. Who knows? But the thing is, those are such scripted, specific sequences. And that's not what I associate with
In a
Metroid
Metroid
at
game,
all.
Well, I was joking. I mean, I agree with all three of you, in a certain way. In that, I agree with Jez in that I don't think they're terrible by any means. Don't think they're particularly good. I don't think that they needed to be in a Metroid game. And if I was on the design committee for a Metroid game, which I wasn't and I never will be, but if that did happen, I would say, why the fuck are you even considering putting this in the game? With that being said, I don't think they're terrible, but they're a bit bad, particularly on the first playthrough. I will agree with Jazz and Otis and say that in no way at all did they make me feel tense or nervous or anything. They're not good at creating atmosphere at all. In fact, I would say this: I don't have too many things bad to say about Metroid Dread. It's a very, very, very good Metroid game. You know, she's back. We're all happy. I think the atmosphere is one area of the game which is completely unimpressive.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah,
Even said
it's-
Metroid, I think, has more atmosphere.
Yeah.
Which, obviously, it's
Yeah,
the
well,
high watermark,
yeah.
but...
So it's not a deal breaker, but the atmosphere is one of the key elements of a Metroid game, and in Metroid Dread it's just fine. By the way, I'm curious about this. Does anybody else think that the game looks like shit? Because I think graphically it kind of sucks. Again, I don't really care.
It's fine.
I think it's quite pretty.
I thought it was alright.
Cutscenes look awful.
The
It's more
cutscenes
like-
do look weird, yeah.
I think it's more just like designed in a way that is clearly a more modern 3D style, but still has
Yeah.
that like it can show you what lava or what the different environments are. So I thought it was like functional. Here's
On that
one
note,
thing.
the only other thing I don't like is Adam recapping the things you already know
Oh, yeah,
every
God.
15
Oh, yeah.
minutes. Aside from that, though, I generally
Skip that.
I know you can skip it, but it's like, do you even have to make me
That's true,
mash
yeah.
the
You
A
don't need
button in the first
Yeah,
place?
just like the Emmy sections, they're a big problem on the first run.
Yeah. Because like I do have to read it partially at first because that's who I am.
I must praise the boss fights though.
Yeah,
they
those
were.
boss
I
fights.
actually loved them. They were
Absolutely.
so fun.
Pretty good, yeah.
I think they're like the best in any 2D Metroid.
Yeah, and
I agree. I think they're the best in the whole series. So it's
I mean, the
I haven't played too much of it,
gameplay's
honestly.
really great fun, like exploring the map and getting all upgrades. But then
The,
when you
the new
actually
movement
get to
options
use
are great
them,
as well.
they really are. And then when you get to use them on the bosses in a cinematic way that is mainly you're fighting, and then every now and then they have a quick time event for massive damage, it just really feels fun and like it's using all of the
Really makes
mechanics
it feel like
properly.
Samus.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't know Kraid was. I didn't know Kraid was in the game, and I genuinely was very happy when I saw fucking Kraid.
He sent me like
Oh,
5 text
oh,
messages in a row.
That's great.
No, we were on fucking Discord at the time. I said,
Oh, yeah,
my
you
God,
were, yeah.
I'm clapping. I see him and I'm clapping.
Yeah, I really did love, like, it probably is the best game I played this year, apart from Resident Evil 8, but, okay, back to the Emmys, just one final point on the Emmys. What I actually thought was going to happen was when they first introduced the Emmy in that environment, in that, like, isolated biome, then you obviously, you defeat the Emmy and stuff. What I thought was going to happen was you're going to play through and unlock the whole world, and then sometimes an Emmy's going to be dropped in, and it's going to chase you around the
Yeah, like Mr.
Oh
X
yeah,
and
that would
Resident
have been
Evil.
sick.
Yeah, so
That's what I thought it
that
was gonna
you
be like.
understand how the world layout works, and you have to go towards a place to stop him. Which is what I thought was going to happen. It didn't just happen. It was just 6
Yeah.
isolated areas.
Yeah, it was weird that it was all just isolated. I think that's what they were. It seemed like it was going to be like that in the trailer, that it was just
Yeah.
going to be everywhere. But
Like, I think conceptually it's a good idea, but it just
definitely.
wasn't executed well at all. I don't think.
Yeah,
I think my only real complaint with Metroid Dread is I didn't feel it was as open as Super Metroid.
it feels linear,
Yeah,
It
but I don't know
feels
if that's
linear.
because it is linear or if it's just like
Yeah,
really streamlined.
I think it's really
No,
stream. I
think
watched
it's-
the video.
I
of
think
it.
it's just streamlined.
I would
So I've
say
heard-
go on, Jez.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like my only main gripe was that I found a super bomb upgrade early, but because I didn't have the super bomb like ability, I couldn't use it. Whereas in Super Metroid, you would just get the ability as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in Super Metroid, the upgrade is the same as the power. Sorry, the sort of ammo expansion is the same as the power up. So when you collect one, you get the power up as well. Yeah. So on the thing of the design, in terms of it being like straightforward and streamlined, I agree. So it's too straightforward, and what the reason for that is from what I found from looking over my footage after doing 4 playthroughs. Basically, you'll find that when you're playing Metroid Dread, even on your first run, there will always be maximum, usually like 2. Sometimes there'll be 3 or 4, but most of the time there'll only be 2 ways to go. It will feel like there's 5 or 6, but very quickly, within like a few seconds, you'll realise that one of those places, 3 of those places are closed off. 2 of those places you don't have the right power up, and that leaves 1. And it all happens very, very quickly. Just like one sequence leads into the next. So it's not linear, but it almost works out that way, which is why I'm going to assume that it's the same for all of you. No one needed a guide to finish this game.
No. I did notice, actually, sort of what you're saying. I think it's because, like, compared to Super Metroid, which is not fair to compare anything to Super Metroid. No, you move super fucking fast in this game. And like I did note, like you pointing that out just made me realize a lot of like the divergent paths is like you going down like 2 rooms, going, oh, it's a dead end, sprint the fuck back, go down another one, oh, it's a dead end, sprint the fuck back, find the right one. You go, wow, that's non-linear, even though you only have one way to go. Yeah. I think that's a lot of the experience.
They also block off a lot of the routes with like, oh, rubble was fallen here, or mushrooms fell here.
That doesn't really happen in any other Metroid game.
No, it doesn't.
Like the environment changing that like arbitrarily.
Dramatically. Yeah.
The only thing that comes anywhere near it is Metroid Fusion. Metroid Fusion is the closest to this game.
Famously the most linear.
I sort of don't mind it so much though, because I didn't notice it too much, and I was having fun with the main gameplay. But I do.
Yeah. I reckon if this is your first.
Who has fun with video games?
I don't, mate.
But the movement is sick. We've got Shine Sparks. We've got Shine Spark cancelling. It's fucking great.
We've got ball sparks.
We've got ball sparks. We do have ball sparks. It's fucking good.
Yeah.
Very
good. I reckon that if this is your first Metroid, or you've played some of the others but didn't like the others,
or you're the God of War director,
this will be like Dread would be your favourite.
Yeah, you have to start on
more straightforward.
Yeah, Super Metroid is the best Metroid game.
By far, yes.
This one is probably my second favourite.
I think Zero Mission is probably better. Probably.
So
I can't remember.
I've played every game in the series. I think Super Metroid and Metroid Prime 1 is leagues ahead of everything. But for spots 3, 4, and 5, it's now a triple threat match between Metroid Prime 3, Metroid Fusion, and Metroid Dread. Zero Mission I don't count because it's a remake.
Oh, come on. It's completely different.
I know. Well, I removed Zero Mission because I think it's overrated and also it's a remake. So maybe that's wrong with me. But for what it's worth, I actually think Metroid Dread is the worst of those 3 games out of Prime 3, Fusion, and Metroid Dread. But that's not really a criticism of Dread. It's just all the games are great. Just a very satisfying return to form for the series. Samus's character is saved if you cared about that particularly. But considering the last game in the series was Metroid Other M, she's back properly, and this is the best she's looked maybe in any game, because the cutscenes, although I don't think they look that great graphically, are actually very well directed.
Yeah. I actually thought Samus was a cool character in this, and even though she doesn't.
Really cool.
Just the facial animation, like
was perfect.
The fucking eyes, like I'm gonna kill everyone. It's like I love this.
Yeah,
she's like Doom guy basically, and I was like, this is great.
Sort of the thing about her biology and where she kind of originated from, the kind of the DNA stuff, a lot was kind of interesting as well.
Yeah, I mean the ending sequence, I enjoyed quite a lot.
Yeah,
for sure.
Great game.
I think that is my game of the year, single game that came out this year, game of the year.
There isn't DLC.
There isn't DLC.
Yeah.
For a game that came out 3 years ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
I agree. Metroid Dread has to be my game of the year because I haven't played Resident Evil 8 and I haven't played Inscription. If that turns out to be any good, but yeah, basically, I can't really see anything beating Metroid Dread. And it is a great game, but it shouldn't be the best game released in an entire year. But that's 2021.
Yeah.
Second best game on Switch. That's not saying much, but there you go. There are now 2 great games on Switch.
Let's not get into that.
In
Right,
5 years.
Let's move on to one other game that I think me and Matt both played. Deathloop.
Matt, me.
Did you play this?
I played it. Oh, did Matt play it?
I did play a lot.
I played it for an hour and thought this was fucking shite and stopped playing it. Anyway, you two continue.
I'm not going to talk too long on this because I don't think the game itself is that interesting.
Yeah.
So I will
Matt,
be.
sorry, is there a particular reason why you're not going to talk too long on this?
I will be relatively quick on this. On the surface, Deathloop looks like it has loads of ingredients to be a really great game, a really great first-person shooter, something different, something new, something to please everyone. And because of that, I think it falls down quite a lot in a lot of ways. Because once you put all these ingredients together, the end result is something that feels really unfocused and really muddled. So just to give an example, this game sort of advertises itself like, hey, it's a first-person shooter, but we have time loop mechanics, and it's also like about an assassin, and we also have like a cool original theme song that goes with it, and it's really stylish. Do you want to run through the game and just shoot everything? You can do that. Do you want to run through the game but be all stealthy and have stealth mechanics? Yeah, you can do that. Do you want to run through the game and throw people around with telekinesis abilities? Yeah, you can do that. And in the end, there's so many options and so many ways to play that none of them seem necessary, and none of them seem like you ever have to have thought or a mastery of the mechanics, or none of the levels can be designed specifically around the tools you have to stealth. None of the levels can be designed specifically around the time loop mechanic and first-person shooting only, because what if some players don't want to run through the game with a shotgun and blast everything? Well, we have to have some stealth sections in there. Okay, well, there's a stealth, not stealth sections, but ways to get through the level stealthily. But then, what if you don't want to go through the level stealthily? Well, then you have to be able to just go in through the main door and shoot everything with relative ease, because we have to allow players to do that too. And what it becomes is that, why would I stealth this when I can just go through the door and point my cursor, point my crosshair towards the objective marker and just blast everything, just mow everything down? Why would I stealth? And it goes the opposite way as well. You know, why would I bother switching weapons, trying out different weapon attachments, playing around with the game's loot system? It has like a trinket system, which is sort of like, you know, on these Diablo games, etc., where you go through a run, you pick up upgrades which you can attach to your weapons, like scopes or buffs, more ammo, less recoil, the standard stuff, which then you can use on the next time loop when you go through the level again. But you don't need to worry about any of it, because you can just stealth your way through the game really easily and just have one button takedowns, and it doesn't matter. So if you see what I mean, they almost pushed for the moon too much here. That they gave the player so many options that you don't really have to master any of them, and no level can be specifically designed around one of these options and be great.
I definitely agree with all of that. I actually, when I started playing it, I thought it was quite fun and it was stylish and sort of interesting. And then quickly as it goes on, I think the sort of like premise of like you have to figure out how to kill all these people like drops its interest quite considerably after you figure out that there's nothing too special to any of it. Like for example, it seems like Outer Wilds in terms of the only thing that you change really is your knowledge of the level, and I thought it was going to be that way of like, oh, if I do this, then this makes this thing happen, and then if I get this power up, then I'm going to be able to go here and do this. No, it's not that. You just have a very specific, very ordered events of things you have to do that it tells you and it gives you markers to do, and it loses a lot of its spark. And also one of the fucking things you have to do is an invasion. if you're playing online, and I suck at shooters, and so I never beat the person like 50 times. So I was like, this sucks. The story sucks as well.
They took the invasion mechanic from Dark Souls, and basically, just like how it works in there, a player can invade and just shoot you while you're trying to do a single player thing. It's not very good. I didn't like it at all, and it's not handled anywhere near with as much thought or kind of grace.
It just ruins a run, and it's annoying.
Or anything like that it works in Deathloop. In Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Definitely feels like they were like, Dark Souls. We need a bit of Dark Souls.
That's popular.
And the whole game feels like we need a bit of stealth in this.
Yeah.
We need a bit of run and gun in this. Oh, people like physics-based throwing people around with telekinesis. Yeah. Oh, we need some telekinesis powers in this. Oh, people like story and voice acting because, God of War, the newest God of War and the Uncharted games. Oh, okay, we'll put some voice acting and stuff in there. And it's a big hodgepodge of all these mechanics. And the game can't design any of its levels around focusing on any of them. So it has to be really open and really accommodating to no matter how you play, and because of that it's just a very kind of mediocre experience. There is some nice stuff in here.
The bosses have interesting designs, I think, but it's it's not enough. It's not cleverly designed is a big problem.
I'm sort of glad for the attempt. It does try something interesting, but it just tries too much, and it can't focus on just one sort of aspect of its gameplay. So it all just becomes a bit mediocre, no matter how you play it.
I completely agree. I was dreading playing more of this as it got to the end. I was like, can this be over? Which is not a good sign.
To give you a final example, right? Because the stealth mechanics, you're walking around in first person, which is always hard for stealth, unlike, say, Metal Gear or whatever third-person stealth game where you can swing the camera around corners to see if enemies are looking at you or not. But let's say you're just walking from A to B in first person, you can't look to your left quick without stopping, because otherwise you'll start walking left, right? So you can't look across the map to see if that guard's looking at you or whatever. So because of that, to compensate, all the enemies in the game, like the fodder enemies, all the guards, have really, really limited vision cones, and they don't really react too much to sound and the rest of it. And that would be all fine in a way, because it's a compromise for the fact that you can't freely swing the camera around and you have to stealth in first person. But then the issue becomes when you stop stealthing and you just take out a shotgun and you're running around the map, well, the same enemies still have the same limited vision and the same dumb AI, but now it's not in the stealth context. It's just crap as you just run around the level one-shotting everything with a shotgun, and none of the enemies really react. See what I mean? So they had to design the enemies that way to allow you to do stealth in first person. But then that completely ruins playing as a shooter, running around blowing things up as a run and gun rather than as a stealth. So yeah,
it definitely feels like an artistic vision that got squashed by corporate thinking, probably, in terms of we need this in this. You need to put this in.
It won't happen because I think it was actually received quite well. But I'd like them to do a sequel where it's just stealth. It's just stealth.
It's called Dishonored,
and it's just stealth.
Yeah, so I'd like them to do a sequel where the main loop and the main idea is actually used in some way interestingly. But yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It's not good. I don't think
it was okay.
Okay, so after my 20-minute monologue about Oni in the last podcast, right, I tried to satisfy that itch while I was waiting for the DLC to come out of early access. These are the games I played. Astroneer, didn't like it. Factorio, I think it's a very good game, but it doesn't satisfy the same thing that Oni does. It's all about the automation, whereas Oni is about more than that. Satisfactory, okay, this one, sort of the Factorio problem, but there's such a nice emphasis on efficiency and exploration that it does sort of get away with it, but I don't like that the things you're making are just like things in a pipeline as opposed to things with impact. You're not worried about how much heat it's producing or shit. So it's good, but a bit much, especially in the late game. Subnautica, couldn't get into it because I just played like Valheim before then. It was like, fucking, I'm not playing another one of these. Frostpunk, did not like this at all. As I've said in like a podcast 5 years ago or something, there's a very fine line between strategy and puzzles, and this one falls more into puzzle because like there's no leniency in the way you can play the game. It's like if you do this, you win. If you don't do this, you're fucked and you lose. Try again. Didn't like it. Surviving Mars. This again was shit. It's by the same people as City Skylines. It's City Skylines, but you're on Mars. However, the problem with that is if you don't terraform it correctly, there's only one way to terraform Mars, really. So there's no variance in the way you play. You have to just make a dome, put things in it, and there you go. You've terraformed Mars. Well done. So I didn't like that at all. That's all of my Oni-related games that I played, aside from Oni DLC, which is the best game I played this year, including Metroid Dread. So bye.
What about the other game that is a DLC that you played?
I have 3 other games of the year.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Okay, let's do. We can do it one quickly. Outer Wilds: Echoes of the Eye.
You want to do that quickly? Okay, it's the best game I played this year.
It's the best game I played this year too. But I mean, we can't speak about it. It's
We can't
DLC
speak
to
about
Outer
it.
Wilds.
The only thing I'll say, just to hook Matt in a little bit, is I don't know if you had this when you played Outer Wilds, but there's like certain moments where like, oh, it's a dark corridor, you turn the flashlight on, and there's just like a shadow on the wall, you're like, oh shit, there's atmosphere in this game. Oh well, at least nothing's going to kill me. The DLC preys upon that fucking amazingly.
Yeah.
It is game of the year.
It's probably the scariest game I've ever played. And it's not horror.
The atmosphere is thick.
It's genius. It's like this may as well be called Outer Wilds 2, and
it answers a question, a leftover question from the original, and it's like beautiful.
I cried at the end. Yeah, it's great. It's Outer Wilds, even better.
Recommend it.
It's great.
Enough.
But it's also like you say, like, oh, it's like a sequel, but it's woven into the base game.
Yes.
Yes.
Does that work?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay then, guys. Okay.
It's literally, oh, hey, here's a 10 out of 10 game. Oh, here's a 10 out of 10 DLC that comes with it that is basically the same length as the first game, is as interesting, and is as creative.
It's bad to call it a DLC, it's more like an expansion.
Yes.
It's an expansion to Outer Wilds. And it is as good as the base game.
Jazz, when did you start working for IGN, mate?
They would not have given this game a 10 out. Did they give this game a 10 out of 10? I have no idea.
I don't fucking know. I probably said 9 out of 10. Too much water.
They started paying me to shill for these games. No, it's honestly, it's wonderful, and it makes when you play Deathloop, like you go, there's no people with brains made this game.
While I'm on a roll, right, let me just rattle out 2 fighting games that I played.
Okay.
From reverse chronological order, I played Blaze Blue Central Fiction because they added rollback to it. Add rollback to more games and I'll play your game. It's an anime game. That's all I have to say on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one, Matt, is Guilty Gear Strive.
Yeah, we can go quite quick.
And there's not much to say about it. I really like the game. I hate the fucking lobbies.
I did not play the previous Guilty Gears, and I think a lot of people's reservations with this game is the fact that they changed a lot, for better or for worse, to try and make it more accessible to new players, which is always sort of a...
That's what every developer's going to say that.
Every developer says it, and it's sort of a taboo thing, which I think fans don't like to hear. But, you know, let's be real here. I'm a new player. I was not interested in playing Guilty Gear before they made the changes in Strive, and then I bought it, and I put a substantial amount of hours into it. The fighting game scene and fighting game genre in general really needs a big hitter to come along and I think revitalize it a bit, whether or not it's going to be this new Riot game or Street Fighter 6 or whatever it may be. But in the meantime, I think Strive is a great fighting game with some great netcode and some great online play, which is always a bit, probably the most important part of it for keeping your player base. There are some silly decisions with the way they've handled the online lobbies and finding a game, which sort of ruins it a bit. But a good smart fighter, which might not be for everybody, especially hardcore Guilty Gear fans, but I liked it as a fighting game.
As someone who, not quite a hardcore Guilty Gear fan, but I liked Rev Exile, the changes were weird at first. It feels very chunky, but not in a bad way. It's like the moves are chunkier, and that's as someone who plays Soul, who's very chunky in this, and continues to be to this day. I don't mind the changes. A lot of the characters do have a lot of their depth taken away, especially like Rambathol and fucking, I don't know, some other characters I can't fucking remember. But yeah, I do like it. I like the game. It's good. Cool. That's all the fighting games.
WarioWare, get your shit together.
Yeah. It's good fun. It's back to the classic WarioWare form with lots of fast and crazy micro games. The main twist this time around is you play as an actual character through the micro games, which I thought would be a little jarring in terms of figuring out what to do and reacting, but it was completely fine. It actually works really well. My only real gripe with the game is that you're kind of forced to play each stage of the story with a crew of 3 characters rather than just like a specific character. Each stage is like a new set of microgames and introduces a new style of play in the form of another character. In the previous games, you'd use this new style throughout the stage, but in Get Your Shit Together, you're forced to pick 2 other characters you're already comfortable and familiar with. And this poses a problem because some characters are obviously better than others. So like, for example, 9volt is absolutely terrible and tricky to control, but his stage isn't that... Yeah, but his stage isn't that bad because you have 2 easy characters to fall back on. So like, having every micro game be playable by every character is cool and adds great variety, but it lacks that challenge that would have been provided by a set of micro games catered to a specific character and their style. Kind of like what Matt was saying about Deathloop. Yeah. But other than that, I'm surprised how much they've tried to squeeze out of the game with like extra modes and missions and stuff. And yeah, would definitely recommend it.
Yep. So I've played it for about 6 hours. I started playing it 2 days ago. So yeah, as Jess said, the gimmick is now you don't play the mini games, you play as a character in the mini game to try and clear it. There's like 18 of them, and so it's like a massive roster, and there's a lot of big differences between each character. Some characters basically make it hard mode because they're so fucking awful. Other characters are like way easier. I think it's an extremely clever twist on the WarioWare formula that probably needed something, because WarioWare to me is a series that I love, but it's also one of those series that I think probably has peaked and they might never get past the peak. And the peak was probably the GameCube one, to be honest with you, because it just had the strongest collection of minigames and the best multiplayer mode. And was WarioWare's basic but most well made.
Or it was a fresh idea, I guess.
Yeah, and Touched was great. Had the new gimmick. Smooth Moves was great with the new gimmick, but had terrible multiplayer. But it's still a really good game. Get It Together, extremely interesting gimmick. As Jez said, the run through the main story isn't that good, but that's actually the case in basically all the WarioWare games. The game doesn't really start until you hit the credits, which is normally about 2 hours into your playthrough. Then all the mini games open up, and from that point you've unlocked everyone, and you can also play every story mode level again with and you can select everyone, as in there's a button to select all. So by the way, something we didn't mention, the order is basically random of which character you're going to get for the minigame, but the character will pop up and then the minigame will start, so you have time to react to it. But if you select all, then you have the potential to play as every single character. Again, you can only do this once you've finished the main story, but I'm going back through the levels again with everyone to do the missions, which are basically what's driving me to actually play the game now. Which is basically, it's almost like achievements, but they drive you to actually do stuff. And I'm really enjoying it because I'm having to play as characters that I haven't been choosing. And
exactly, yeah.
It's mixing up the gameplay so much. It's making so many of the mini games more interesting. So yeah, it's very good. I'd recommend it. I will say that it's probably not fair for me to say this because I haven't played it enough, but I don't think it's going to be one of the best games in the series, because although the gimmick is very interesting, the quality of the mini games is probably worse than most of the series. But
yeah, I think that's just because it has to fit that criteria of the variety, so that they can all play.
It hasn't quite got the mix of the new gimmick and the new games.
Yeah. So Tom, when you were going through the story, did you ever pick 9volt after his stage?
No, he's fucking awful.
Exactly.
Awful. Some of the characters are literally like, do you want to have less fun with the game and make it harder? Some of the
that's why I
characters
think it
are
should have forced you. Yeah, that's why I think it should have forced the player more to use those characters in certain situations. But yeah,
this is exactly why I'm saying I like the all characters mode, because and you're like playing, obviously WarioWare's tense as it is because you're waiting for the next game, you've got to react so quickly, but it's like 9-volt comes up and you're like, oh fuck, and then you've got to beat this game in 5 seconds, which requires you to jump over the map, and you can't fucking jump. Obviously the minigame's altered a little bit so that it's always possible. Generally very good game. Gimmick is interesting enough that it's worth buying on its own. If you liked any of the other WarioWare games, get this one. If you haven't played a WarioWare game, I don't think you should start with this one, probably because you need to figure out whether this is the series for you, in which case, if you're Wii still knocking about, buy the GameCube one, I guess. Overall, good game. Probably going to be one of the worst in the series, but you should expect that now if you own a Nintendo Switch.
Fucking relentless.
Devastating. Okay, there's only a couple left, so I'm just going to quickly knock out the 2 that I've got. There's like only a couple. So Loop Hero, I thought it was interesting to start with, and it quickly became not.
I thought it was instantly boring. Conversely, didn't understand what the fuck the point of it was.
Yeah, there is no point to it. It's an on rails roguelike. It's so bizarre. The only positive it has is all the fucking music is a JoJo reference.
Yeah, that is the only positive part. You bought it, in fact, if I remember.
Is a shame.
I haven't played it, but I bought. Sorry, mate. I bought Loop Hero in a bundle with Inscription. So
good luck.
It sounds like I'm gonna hate it, but I haven't played it yet.
It's not great. There's nothing much to it that you influence at all, which makes it boring. Potion Craft. It looks
lovely.
It looks lovely when I played when I saw it on E3, and it's the most like put on a podcast and do the bare minimum to do something alright and charming. That's it. There's nothing much to it.
I liked it quite a lot. I played it for in a massive 4-hour stint, and then I've never played it since.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is because the goal that you're going towards is to get the Philosopher's Stone, and the amount of shit you need is insane.
I got to the stage before that, and I was like, "Oh fuck this! This is embarrassing. This is a lot." And it's like if there was more bits in between it, like upgrades to your shop or other kind of customers or something, or I'd find it more interesting. But I think it's an alpha as well. So
it's early access. I do genuinely like the mixing ingredient shit and the style, obviously. But we'll see where it is in a year or so. Yeah. I'd be interested to come back to it. I think it has a lot of potential. I'll be interested at least.
Yeah. Jez, do you want to talk about Deltarune Chapter 2?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Deltarune Chapter 2.
No spoilers, please.
I think we all agree.
No spoilers, lads.
I think we all agree that making it episodic is not great.
When was Chapter 1?
But that's the way he has to do it.
I know it has to do it. I know it has to do it. Chapter 1 was 2019, the end of it?
3, yeah.
It was
2019,
I think.
Yeah. Okay, let's put it this way. I actually really liked Chapter 2. I thought it was really fun. I think the music's great. I think the characters are still great. I think the gameplay is still fun.
It's just still a continuation of the great gameplay. Yeah. I thought Chapter 1 was better. I thought there was a lot more kind of story and text in Chapter 2.
It's the thing, is like with anything that's in a chapter based, it's you can't tell what it's like until you see the full narrative. And I mean, I get it, Otis and Matt are not going to play it until all the chapters are out, and I think he's just going to release a bunch of the chapters together.
I'm in the same camp as Otis and Matt, by the way. I played part 1, loved it, but I'm not playing anymore until it's done. Episodic gaming has never worked. It has never worked with anything.
Which is a shame, because it is very fun, and it gives me that Undertale feeling, and it's got those well-written characters, it's got the lovely music, it's got weird, strange settings, and it's got it. There's something there to it that I'm like, this is very interesting.
I did find it a little weird how it was in Chapter 1, sort of your decisions didn't have too much of an impact on the story and the gameplay, but then in Chapter 2, it kind of retroactively took what you decided in Chapter 1.
Well, here's the thing. I've now some of the decisions you can do in Chapter 2. I'm like, how the fuck are they going to do it in Chapter 3? What the fuck? Like this. Yeah, it's mad.
From the chapter select as well, it looks like there's going to be like 6 chapters.
Yeah,
which is a crazy amount to kind of keep up with.
I know. Like, I don't know. I think it's going to be based on. They're going to have chapters based on characters more than. I don't know. I have no idea.
Cool.
I trust. Yeah,
Well,
I trust him because.
Well, yeah, I trust him because he's the fucking goat. But
Yeah.
there was a lot more focus on certain characters from the school this time around, wasn't there?
Birdley is
So
the best. I'm excited for the. I want now a chapter on the snake guy in the hat. He's just a snake with a hat on. Oh, that's all I want.
Birdley just reminds me of Falco.
Birdley is Falco.
Looks the same with the scope. He basically is.
Yeah, Birdley's. I'm very excited for all of the chat. I think what he's going to do. I have a feeling he's going to put out 3, 4, and 5 as one and pay. You can pay for them, but not until like next year or something.
That's very wishful thinking. I'd love that, but I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, who knows? I have no idea. I have a suspicion that's what he's going to do, but.
I tell you what, Jazz. With Toby Fox, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's possible.
Am I right, boys? Am I right, boys?
Yeah.
He's going to rock up to Miyamoto's house, get his involvement, like he did with Sakurai, getting sounds and Smash.
Sakurai's going to voice lines in the game. Oh, one thing I am going to point out, there was an over-reliance on explosion sound effects and as the punchline to a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
They do not work.
I think so. It's kind of like, it's like a trope kind of thing from Undertale and I guess Deltarune Chapter 1. But I feel like, I don't feel like there was as many kind of fresh, new, innovative things in this time, even just with the humour as well. Like, it's sort of relying too much on the same things.
The best stuff is when here's a character with an interesting quirk that is well written and how they interact with other characters. And there's still that like heart to it, it's still charming. And it's just like, but when they do like, hey, here's that quirky, childish internet humour for this one specific segment for a joke. It falls flat more often than it doesn't for me. Just because I get it now. I know Undertale.
Exactly, yeah.
It feels like this is a game for 13-year-old guys, and then, oh, by the way, it also has excellent writing for the characters that draws you in. I don't know. We'll see. Once again, not a finished product. So.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It is exciting. Yeah. Do you want to talk about Bowser's Fury, and then last thing we've got is Dark Souls 3.
No, I want to talk about my game of the year after this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can do Bowser's Fury quick. There's not really too much to say about it. It's kind of like an interesting step forward for like 3D Mario. It's kind of like
all the levels are in
one
right?
big, huh?
All the levels are in one, right? Sort of.
Yeah, it's like one giant playground with a bunch of little worlds in it. I don't think it controls as smoothly as Odyssey. It kind of feels like a cross between Odyssey and 3D World's movements, which of course is going to bring it down because 3D World is shit. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it's kind of just same standard fun 3D Mario. Maybe the movement just isn't as good as Odyssey.
Sure.
I hope they make an Odyssey too.
I suspect we'll get some sort of Mario 3D moves this year. It's been a while. Oh, fair enough. Okay. Yeah. Otis, go on.
I want to quickly shout out Hard Space Shipbreaker. It's an Outer Wilds physics, you're in space but you dismantle spaceships work game. But I want to shout it out because it's the only left-wing video game I've ever seen. It's about forming a union. So anyway, moving on from that. Moving on from that, my game of the year for realsies. It didn't come out this year. It's God Hand. Only Tom can appreciate this. So God Hand is the proto-platinum game. It's the fucking crown jewel in Mikami's fucking gold-adorned crown. I couldn't think of a synonym. It's fucking brilliant. The thing about it is...
You're a man of true wealth and taste, Otis.
The thing about it is, right, that it's... Unlike, say, Bayonetta and Revengeance, that you can sort of just play it, be shit, and enjoy the spectacle of this nonsense that's going on. God Hand, it forces you to get good. It forces you to learn the mechanics, like the ins and outs of them, to find out what moves are the best moves, like how to string your attacks together. It does not fuck about. This is a game for hardcore motherfuckers. I fucking love it. It's in my top 10 of all time. It's also completely fucking tacky and tasteless. It's super janky. It's like really weirdly sexist, and it does like send up 70s like shit films, but like it doesn't really get away with it. It's like, oh, that's a bit dodgy.
That's why it's in your top 10.
That is why it's in my top 10. I don't give a fuck about the character action shit. Give me. So like there's like QTEs, right?
Racism, yeah, top 10.
Yeah, there's loads of racism. No, there's like a QTE when you like dizzy a female character. When you dizzy any female character, you end them over and fucking spank them. And then when you finish them up, you like fucking fly into the wall and shit. But with guys, you just like knee them in the head. Standard shit like that. Yeah, it's very weird in that regard, but genuinely, some of the best action gameplay I've ever played. And I say that, I feel like I say that in every single Game of the Year podcast. But this one
is it. Did you also like one of those Guilty Gear characters because she bent over in an animation?
What?
What's wrong with you guys? What's going on?
Listen,
I think you're forgetting there, Jazz.
Are we still recording this part?
Yes.
Are we recording this? Anyway.
God Hand is a beautiful game. Wonderful example of its genre. And yeah, the main thing that I take away from it is that like you can't go on autopilot and just win. Like you have to, like the first level, for example, is not particularly hard, but you have to use all of the game's mechanics correctly, and you have to fully understand to get through it. Like it punishes mistakes a lot. So even if it's like the first level, for example, you can get through it quite easily without making a mistake, as long as you get to grips with the game, the mechanics, and you pay attention and stay fully focused. But if you do make any mistakes, you get punished heavily for it, and that's just the first level. But it's not unfair, it's just it is a continuous test. Like the game continuously tests the player, but it also has this like amazing, outside of the sexism, character and like style to it. And I'm not surprised that, given everything I just said, that IGN reviewer couldn't get past the first level and gave it a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, it's not as good as Imagine Party Babies. We have to be honest. Imagine Party Babies is a 7 out of 10.
So
this is
solid 7.5. Yeah.
I mean, we're all not debating that here.
We didn't talk.
I want to quickly just say, Fist Fortune Shadow Torch, I refunded it, but I'm probably going to buy it again. I get the impression that they're really trying to copy Platinum Games, and I'm all for more developers copying Platinum Games, so I'm going to try that again.
Speaking of Platinum Games, where's Beautiful Joe 3?
It's fucking that's in Capcom's ballpark, I'm afraid.
Where is it?
Ask Capcom.
You're watching.
In fact, what you should do is tweet at Hideki Kamiya and ask him where it is. He'd love it.
he'll be way into it.
I'm pretty sure I'm following a Beautiful Joe 3 Twitter account that's like asking every day, where's Beautiful
I think
Joe
that's
3?
my Twitter account, Jez.
Is it like day 5,000?
That's my account, yeah.
Bayonetta 3, that Bayonetta 3 equivalent of that finally got what they wanted, so well done to them. Looking forward to that.
Is that coming out this year, Bayonetta 3?
Yeah, I think so.
So it does work.
It does work, yeah. If you ask for 5 years.
We got Stone Ocean, we got Bayonetta 3. What next? Right, there's one last thing to talk about.
Auction not included, Spaced Out.
It's not
Game of the Year.
It's not Auction not included, Spaced Out. It's Matt played Dark Souls 3 and he has some opinions on it.
Right, get the fucking knives out, boys. What have you got to say, Matt?
I'll be quick.
Dinner's ready.
This
I haven't
game-
played Dark Souls.
Game is old, and some other people on this podcast have not played Dark Souls.
That's what you say.
Dark Souls 3 removes some of the charm and obviously the interconnected world that Dark Souls 1 has and is known for, and it removes those features, and instead it allows the game to be a single, a linear, more focused experience where FromSoft can actually do things without having to worry about all the interconnectivity and weird areas, and it allows the game to flourish in other ways. So what I will say is that I know lots of people love Dark Souls 1, and I love Dark Souls 1. I think Dark Souls 1 is great. But I think Dark Souls 3 is the best in the series. If you want to say Bloodborne, that's fine, I'm not going to argue. But in my opinion, Dark Souls 3 is the best Souls game, one of the best FromSoft games, best in the Soulsborne series, however you want to say it. Now I know people complain because the interconnected world isn't there. It's much more of a linear experience where you just go start to finish and all the rest of it. What it does is, from start to finish, it allows FromSoft to have a consistent level of quality from start to finish, and it allows them to have like a consistent difficulty curve that slowly ramps up throughout the game. In Dark Souls 1, there's of course these amazing, video game defining moments. No, we're still talking about Dark Souls 1. Yeah, I'm not trying to take anything away from it, but there are some bad areas in Dark Souls 1. The difficulty curve is non-existent and just spikes all over the place. And after you do the Lord Vessel bit, and it opens up even more, so you can do either of the 4 sections in any order you want. Well, those 4 sections all have to be relatively the same amount of difficulty, because you don't know what order the player is going to tackle them in, so that all becomes a bit wishy-washy in terms of difficulty and area quality. Do you see what I mean? But Dark Souls 3, although it is a linear experience, by the time they get to this game, they've got the combat down to a T, they've got the world looks great, all the graphics are amazing, and although it is a linear experience, it means it's focused, and it means the level of quality remains throughout, and there's no areas like the Lost Izalith or bullshit boss fights like Cap the Demon and the rest of it. So for my money, there might be higher highs in Dark Souls 1, but there's way lower lows, and Dark Souls 3 is consistently great start to finish.
I agree with everything you said, but I disagree.
Yes, me too.
Okay.
I think Dark Souls 3 is the best bosses and the best spectacle.
It's the most polished, the most consistent, like you say, but the lack of charm, that is really what does it for me.
Yes.
And it's entirely that. I agree, like, Lost Izalith is shit.
Yes.
There's shit moments in Dark Souls 1, and Bloodborne even. But, like, those games are so much more interesting. Dark Souls 3, to me, feels like... just going through... So Dark Souls, right? Dark Souls 2 came out, it's like, oh, I guess that's what a sequel to Dark Souls is. And then Bloodborne came out, it's like, okay, no, this is it. And Dark Souls 3 is like, okay, this is Dark Souls. Ignore Dark Souls 2, this is Dark Souls. 1, 3, and Bloodborne.
Yep.
And, like, Dark Souls 3 felt like, at the time, fan service. Like, with fucking Gwyn coming back, and like, oh, it's Anor Londo!
Yeah.
Remember that? And all that shit. And, oh, his name is King, that's fucking Gwyn's son, you remember him? But... after time went by, I've sort of recognised that sort of stuff as, no, this is just what a sequel does, it expands the story.
Yeah.
So I have sort of grown to respect it more over the years, but I just don't find it as interesting to play. I've tried to replay it multiple times, and I just get bored, like, inevitably, partway through it. Whereas Dark Souls, I could pick that up right now. I could pick it up any day. Dark Souls 1 will always be infinitely more replayable and interesting to me. And that's Bloodborne as well.
I've replayed Dark Souls 3 this year to actually play the DLC, and unlike Dark Souls 1, you can just sort of blitz through and just play all the areas, no matter how many times, just different builds. Dark Souls 3 is great in a lot of areas, but there isn't as much unique... there's no area that I'm like, oh, that's a really interesting or unique idea for an area. Like, oh, there's the Poison Forest again, oh, okay. There's the Cathedral, which is there's no real interesting mechanic there apart from the giants, but I've seen that in other things. It's great. It is great. Every part of it is like, yeah, this is great. I like this. I'm enjoying myself. I'm playing Dark Souls. The DLC is pretty great as well. Every time I get to a great boss, I'm like, it's great. But there was nothing surprising.
I do agree, and I think this is where we differ here, and there's two ways to look at this. I agree that the areas in Dark Souls 3 don't have a lot of originality. A lot of the areas are like, remember that idea that we had in Dark Souls 1? Well, Dark Souls 1 we didn't really know what we were doing, and it's a little bit jank, and we probably shouldn't have put this bit here and this sniper knight on this rooftop. So now we're bringing it back in Dark Souls 3, and we're going to polish it, and we know what we're doing now. Now, you either look at that two ways. You say, oh, it's this again? I've already seen this in Dark Souls 1. Or you look at it and you say, remember that area of Dark Souls 1 where they kind of got it right this time? They kind of got it more consistent. This annoying bit is not in the game. There's no Bed of Chaos. There's no Lost Izalith. There's no annoying section which is like, we just didn't know what we were doing in Dark Souls 1. Curse isn't the worst thing in the world like it is in Dark Souls 1. So there is two ways to look at it. I think that's where we differ. Obviously, we all love both these games, Dark Souls 1 and 3. 2 isn't horrible. Dark Souls 2 isn't horrible. It's just a bit mediocre and uninteresting. And I think that's the difference. Dark Souls 3 feels like, I don't want to say it's like a reboot of Dark Souls 1, but you know what I mean? In a way,
feels like a soft reboot, yeah.
It's like they took Dark Souls 1 and they're like, let's do it again, but with the lessons we learned, we're going to change some stuff. And some people like Dark Souls 1 because people like mistakes. When something
that is a big part of it, yeah. I like Dark Souls 1 so much that the mistakes are part of what I like about it.
When something's imperfect, it can be more interesting than when something is perfect. You know, it's something in the imperfections, and I can see that. But for me, in my opinion, Dark Souls 1 gets better the more times you play through it, because you know the jank's coming. You know Lost Isles is coming, and you know I just have to do this, this, and this, and I'm through this level. You know, okay, when I go through the boss door at Capra Demon, these dogs are attacking me, and I know how to handle them now. So the worst bits of the game don't feel as bad the more you play through Dark Souls 1, because you know about them now, and the good parts stay good. And that's why I think when you play through Dark Souls 1, it gets better and better, more than I can see that happening in Dark Souls 3. But for me, the first playthrough is the most important one, and I think I enjoyed my first playthrough of Dark Souls 3 more than Dark Souls 1.
I really enjoyed my first playthrough of Dark Souls 3. Like I say, I mean, Dark Souls 3 is still one of the best games ever made. But I do think the thing that just tips it for me for Dark Souls is definitely I'm not a fan of the constantly you can walk at all points, and there's no. It really doesn't do an interconnected woven world.
There's no consequence to the world is a big sticker, but I don't think it's like a make and break thing.
No, it's not. It's not a make and break thing. I just much prefer it in Dark Souls. I like that things loop back to Firelink Shrine. I also, why can't we just level up at a bonfire? Like, why is that changed? Like,
there's a bunch of
why do I need to go back to this fucking bitch and Firelink Shrine?
Don't worry, Elden Ring will solve that. But anyway,
does solve that.
But there is a bunch of decisions in Dark Souls 3 which kind of stop it, I think, from being the definitive game. The definitive Dark Souls, outside of just some of the charm is lost. Obviously, they didn't bring back the interconnected world, which is something that people absolutely love from the first one. But even just minor things which they got right in the first one, they just didn't bring back for 3. Why? In the first one, you can level up at any bonfire. In the third one, you have to keep going back to the hub world to do it. It's really annoying to sit through 2 loading screens.
Yes.
Even when you do level up, you speak to the maiden, and you have to skip through all of her dialogue before the pop-up window comes up where you can assign your points and your souls to put into your skill tree. Why? They didn't have this in Dark Souls 1. They already solved that issue, and it's like they forgot about it and then brought in an issue which they'd already solved years ago. So there are little quirks like that which also set the games apart, and some people, I can see why you put Souls 1 above 3. But for me, as an overall experience, I just can't look past, especially on a first run through, I can't look past some of those really low janky points in Dark Souls 1. So Dark Souls 3 pips it.
Soul Cinder is great.
Fair enough. It's more reasonable than I was expecting.
Yeah, that is way more reasonable.
The lesson of the day is that Dark Souls is a good series and everyone should play it.
And Elden Ring is Game of the Year already. So.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing what Matt thinks about Sekiro next year.
Yeah.
You have to look for the next year. That's a good ending point.
Yeah. I think so too.
Tune in next year, guys, and I'll talk about that other From Software game from many years ago.
Not Elden Ring, though.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Listening. Ligma balls.
Let's
ease my dick in your mouth.
Liking video games.
Fuck video games.
No, let's not do that.
Microsoft's firing everyone.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Actually, you know what? Video games are shit.
Thanks for having me, Jazz.
Thank you.
Sugman.